Hi everyone, today I just want to talk about things that are off when you start your alcohol-free journey. And the first few months and the first few weeks are really tough. Your emotions are all over the place. You've made this massive decision that you're not going to booze again. You're probably getting pressure from maybe your partner and your friends and family to drink, and it's just a really, really tough time. You've you're on this path, and it's more for a lot of us. There's always, well, for everyone there's going to be a first time you do it, and for a lot of people this is your first time trying it, and you're now walking this path that you've never been on before. You don't know where it's going. People are telling you it's the right decision, but there's no proof of that. There's no evidence, and I think it's just good to hear maybe from other people, including myself, who was off it for 5 years and then stupidly thought I could moderate again and then ended up quitting again, and now I'm 6 months into that journey. And I just want to go through a few of these things just to know that you're not the only one going through it, and they ultimately will pass. And the first one is around sleep. Sleep is just horrible in the first week and maybe even up to the first month. I just remember spending half my nights just tossing and turning. It really was tough to get through. I would try and get into a good sleeping pattern. I always recommend to people, like, I know you're probably sitting there wide awake, but just at least try to get a bed at a decent time, even if that is midnight in the beginning, and then just slowly try and get up earlier and earlier in the morning. But the sleep thing is strange, and I think there's an assumption from a lot of people out there that as soon as they quit drinking, that's it. They'll sleep like a baby. But you need to think that the 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years before, you've not even really had proper sleep. It's not been REM sleep. You've just been kind of anaesthetised, for lack of a better word, and you're just nodding off. And now your brain's genuinely probably thinking, I'm no doctor, but I'm pretty sure it's thinking, like, what's going on here? I mean, I'm used to having booze in me. I'm used to trying to fight that off, and the battles that go with all the crap food around it. And because maybe your diet's changed as well. You're not eating as much junk food because you're not drinking as much, and you're not next to all those takeaways, and it's just a really tough time. But I want you to know that after about 1 month, I remember, just from personal experience, I remember thinking my sleep's a lot better now. Don't get me wrong, the first week, I think maybe 2 weeks, I was tossing and turning and sweating, and it was just a nightmare. I was exhausted the next mornings as well. But this is a marathon, it's not a sprint, and you will get better. And I remember after around 3 months, especially the first time, I remember it clearly when I quit from 2017 to 2022. I remember waking up one morning and just genuinely thinking, wow, I can't believe how well I'm sleeping. It's just incredible. Another thing that's a bit off is your emotions. And I'm not meaning that, if you've not started your journey, you're not going to start bursting out crying watching Dumbo or something like that on the TV, or Bambi or something. It's not that. It's just your emotions are a bit all over the place. And I think they're really just heightened as well from what your body's going through. I mean, like, say you've spent decades maybe just abusing your body, and your body's been trying to regulate everything, and there's been anxiety there. And especially with anxiety, some people say that instantly it kind of went away. Others say it went wild for the first few weeks, then died off, and all these different variations. But like I say, you need to understand what you put your body through. And another thing is, a lot of these emotions you've just been suppressing. Maybe that was the reason that you were boozing so much. We've all been there when you wake up on the Saturday or the Sunday. I was just a quintessential British binge drinker, as I put it. And you wake up in the morning and you've got all that regret, and you've had a letter from the tax man that you've been ignoring for a few months, and who did a text, and you maybe fallen out with somebody a few weeks ago, and that's popped into your head again. There's just so much going on, and that's now you're at that stage where you've not got the comfort blanket, so to speak, to booze, and you're going to have to deal with it. And that just has a big effect on your emotions. But do know, once you start getting months and months under your belt, and you start getting your affairs in order, and you start really, really planning ahead, you maybe repair old relationships, maybe the rocky relationship with your partner and your kids is now getting better because you're more present, etc. once that comes, you know, the confidence starts to come and your emotions just slowly fall into check. You know, I think you do grow rhino skin because you start putting yourself first, you know, not, you know, you could argue, yeah, in a selfish way, and you should always put yourself first. In situations like this, don't let somebody at the pub force you to get back on it. It's ridiculous. And having just that walking about with your chest held puffed out and your head held high, it's just an absolute great feeling. Another thing that really that kind of feels off is socializing. I mean, in the beginning, I remember I still tried to do the same stuff. On a Friday, I'd had my week, done a really good week. Maybe I was travelling quite a bit, was doing well at work, etc. Because I've not been boozing now. I've quit, so I'm like, you know, a few weeks in, and 3-4 weeks in, I'm doing all right. I'm feeling a lot better. The brain fog's going, and I would still go to my local pub, and I would sit there with all the guys, and they're all buzzing because, you know, maybe some of them have been topping up from the night before, or it's Friday night, and you try and join in, but it doesn't work. And I remember trying to go on Sundays, and loads of my mates would be out for Sunday sessions and something or similar things, you know, going there at lunchtime, and most of them had been out the night before, and they were essentially just topping up. And I remember going and genuinely just thinking, this is rubbish. And work events are tough as well. If you're in that kind of sales job, or you go to all these night events where it just revolves around booze pretty much. You know, you get your glass of champagne on the entrance, and then there might be bottles of wine at the table, and everything just feels awkward. But remember, for other people, if you're not drinking, it's not awkward. That's the thing you need to understand. You might feel a bit awkward inside, but I don't think genuinely nobody cares, especially on the work side. And you just should go there and enjoy your time. And what I always tell people, because I always think this is am I going to get through this? I felt awkward. I genuinely think everyone's brain just rewires after a while. Alcohol just becomes a hobby you used to do, something you used to enjoy and you don't anymore, and it's just like a chapter in your life that is now finished. So all that awkwardness completely changes, and as I mentioned before a few minutes ago, I think that awkwardness turns into confidence. You'll turn up at these events in 6 months' time, 12 months' time, with your just head held so high because, you know, you've got 12 paychecks and you've maybe paid off some loans, you're starting to save money, you've not pulled a sickie from work, or if it's your own business or you're volunteering, you've just always been there and you've completely smashed it, and it'll just be a complete 180 from being awkward to being confident. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this video. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.